Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business. Today we're going to be talking about Steem versus Hive. The results are in because we've seen a lot of things happen. You know what's most interesting to me is that Justin Sun and people who support him constantly repeat this this mantra of, yes, but he's a profit-driven businessman, so obviously he's doing things that are going to help. But they're not. And we're going to go through all of that now. And first and foremost, well, actually here, I'll give a quick summary of the things we'll look at today. And I'll share my screen because we're going to be going through a lot of different platforms and different things. And so that you can see all the evidence and everything that I'm looking at, so you don't think I'm just making this up. Steem hard forked and became Hive on Friday, with the majority of the original witnesses leaving and going and starting that. So we've now seen a lot of other Dapps voice support. They've got their token listed on exchanges. Actually, it's worth more than Steem is right now. Mind you, obviously the trading volume is really low, but it's at this very moment, it is worth more than what Steem is worth. Mind you, Steem just went through a huge pump. Anyways, what we're going to be covering is the Hive launch, the airdrop, Dapps that have moved, Steemit's censorship, Steemit's delegation removal, and the future of the two chains. So the first thing I want to talk about, because I'm just going to kind of go in order here, I was made aware that I was excluded from the Hive airdrop. So someone pointed this out to me because they noticed when they were going through this list that I was on the list. So originally they just said that they were going to block Steemit accounts, their Tron puppets, and anyone who voted a minimum of 2 sock puppets or proxied someone who did. And I do think that is a little unfair, because what if you're just proxied to someone and then they change their vote and they don't tell you? It's like, are you really going to be able to check every day that your proxy is making the right votes and different things like that? So this was done algorithmically. The rest were chosen. This was algorithmic. And in the second stage, they're going to allow people to appeal in case this was inaccurate. And there is quite a few names here, but it's not a crazy amount. Like, they could have double checked this themselves. There's probably less than 500 accounts here. Unfortunately, mine is right here. I was included and I did not get the airdrop. They promised that they're working on this. They've since delegated me a ton of Hive power, more than I actually had in Steem power. And that they will very soon, when they enter stage 2, which is where they will be able to actually do the appeals and everything. In stage 1, it was just algorithmic. Definitely disheartening and very shocking and upsetting that I got lumped into this. But a lot of people have stepped up and said, you know, like, Scott shouldn't be included in this. He's supported the Steem community, and, you know, just everything that's true, right? Like, I shouldn't be included in this. So ideally, this will be fixed very soon. And I will let you guys know when this is fixed, because, you know, obviously this is a concern. And this is why this person is calling it very centralized, because they're determining who does and doesn't get their airdrops based on how they voted. And I do think that penalizing people for voting is not democratic, right? Like, if I go and I vote for someone, the penalization is whoever wins does what they're going to do. And if your candidate doesn't get voted in, then that's your penalty. There shouldn't be anything on top of that, right? There shouldn't then whoever gets in power says, okay, now I'm going to try to prevent all the people who voted for my opponent from being able to participate in our economy or something, right? Like, if a government of a country was like, you know what, half the country now is going to just be annexed and we're going to take away all their money. Mind you, no one's taking away anyone's money. They're just not giving them money. But for this to be better than Steem and more decentralized, I don't think this was the greatest first step. But again, they are going to try to, fix any of the issues that were made when they did this. But again, I'm not super happy about it, but I do have full support for Hive. And I do think that everything that's happening on Steem is crazy, and it's definitely, it had to be dealt with in some way. And the safest way is to just get out of there and create something better. So many creators who have been censored on Steemit now, and it's not Steem, so their posts are still existing on the blockchain, but Steemit, which is still the #1 Dapp on Steem, and probably in the world for how many users they have at least, they are censoring posts that talk about Hive or promote it in some way. Even like a great example is someone who I recently did a creator talk with, Coruscate, aka Girl Gone Crypto. She posted a video talking about Hive, very neutral. I watched it. I didn't think she was like going against Steemit, which I actually am, and I haven't been censored yet. But she was censored, and then she made a post talking about the censorship, and then that was censored. And in the community guidelines, Justin's trying to reason. Actually, I'll bring it up so I don't say something wrong here. But he was trying to give the reasoning that if people are trying to promote another platform on your platform, that is like some unethical behavior of some sort, trying to get people to go to another community. So what he said exactly was, posts they still exist, but they're not being shown on steemit.com, as we need to support our content and the community's content. Would any commercial website support a post that encourages all users to migrate to another one? No. That would not be in the interest of the community, that would not be in the interest of a centralized community, but a decentralized community would allow people to think for themselves. So here's the issue. This isn't correct at all, right? I post on every single platform about all the other platforms. I tell people on Twitter to join like Steem and Hive and Minds and Uptrend and all these different platforms, and I've never gotten in trouble for doing so. Facebook, for a good long while, did not allow people to post minds.com. You had to answer a CAPTCHA, and they made it really challenging, and then sometimes they would still delete your post anyways. They've since recanted on that, and now you can share freely on Facebook about Minds. Ironically, Steemit has a more aggressive censorship narrative for competing platforms than Facebook. Steemit was made to, or Steem, geez, not Steemit. Steem was created to deal with things like censorship on Facebook and Twitter. And now we've got Steemit, which is starting to become the same and or worse. And that's really, really concerning. I guess they're not really censoring political opinions, though, but they're censoring any opinion that goes against what they want, which could become political at any time for all we know. And yeah, it's really scary to see that Steemit has really just fallen down this rabbit hole of centralization, and it's just going to get deeper and deeper, and I don't think they're ever going to come back. He said something like in 6 weeks they're going to try to put the control back in the hands of the community. I don't believe that at all. In the same thing that I just brought up, he mentioned they're going to start bringing out token swaps between Tron and Steem and all this different stuff. You should definitely be concerned. He's basically taken over Steem, and he will be dictating from now on. And it gets way worse. This is just the beginning, right? So, and I write here, if any of them notice this post, because right now I'm just going to call it Steve versus Hive, the results are in, so that it doesn't they don't find it, or it's not obvious that this isn't supporting Steem. It I still support the idea of Steem. I still am going to post on Steem, but what's happening with Steemit is definitely concerning. Because I still post to Facebook and all these other places. I will post everywhere, and maybe this will, we'll see something get fixed, right? Maybe DTube ends up just going all out on their chain that they've got, right? Because I'm a huge supporter of DTube, and it really, really is disappointing to see that DTube, SteemHunt, Drugwars, Fundition, Oracle D, Steempress, and a few other projects have voiced their support for Steem and Justin's son. But what it really seems like to me, and I hate saying this because I have a lot of respect for especially DTube and Fundition, because I've talked with Hive in Danger, I worked with Fundition for a time, but it really feels like they're just doing this because their delegations were taken away from them, from Justin and Steemit, and they just want their delegations back. So they're pledging their support so that they can hopefully get their power back. I don't think they just genuinely think that Justin didn't do anything wrong, because it's just not true. And yeah, I also get a lot of errors when I'm using Steemit now. So clearly, like, it has like really, really bad support. Half the time I try to go on, it doesn't work, and then it comes back up, and then it goes down, and it's just really, really not good. So this post covers how Steem took away all of the delegations that they were giving to all of the major community projects. So if Justin is about profit and making money, why would he take away all of the resources and all the development and all of the great projects on Steem? Because naturally, people would leave Steem. Why is it better that he takes all of it for himself, which is what he did? Why is that better? What is he going to do with his account that is going to be better than all of these amazing community projects? And you can see most of the projects that were left still with a bit of Steem actually are the ones that are still pledging their support. And maybe that's why he didn't fully drain them. Like, he basically fully drained everything else. But he just gave them like these little placeholders, I guess, for some reason, just maybe so he can remember and maybe give some back in the future, but I doubt it. But yeah, you can see these massive delegations are just being drained. And again, you can see that the different platforms that voice their support still got to keep some, right? But for the most part, all of their really big community projects just got destroyed. This is really egregious because this is mainly for crowdfunding and a lot of like charity donations and charity work. And he just destroyed them. Like, good luck to all the charities there, right? Terrible. Steempress helped people set up blogs. I don't know what that is, to be fair. SteemHunt is like products. They voiced their support, so they got to stay. Steem Cleaners and Spaminator, really, really amazing community projects that help deal with spam, exploitation, abuse, false flags, all these different things that are majorly impacting the community. They've been basically drained to nothing. So they can't really do a lot. So people who are abusing the system and doing tons of terrible things are just kind of running rampant, because these were originally set up to deal with those kinds of things in a very decentralized community-based support. And they were supported by the Steemit stake, which we all knew was always there to support different projects in the community and development. But instead, Justin has basically deleted most of it and then just gave a bunch of the delegation to himself. I don't know what he'll do with the rest of it, but it's very clear that, again, people keep saying he wants to, improve the chain, because why wouldn't he? He made a big investment. He wants profits, so he must want to improve it. But it really just, if you look at all the actions that he has done, none of these things are improving Steem. right? How would him taking a bunch of Steem for himself help the chain? Like, what could that possibly do, right? What could it possibly change? Maybe he just needed some more for delegating to his different witnesses that he's replacing and everything, but there's really no reasonable answer for this, right? Maybe someone can let me know in the comments below, but for the most part, I don't see how you could ever rationalize wanting to help the community and build it while also tearing everything down that is meant for Steem. And now we're seeing a lot of these things starting to migrate over. It's really ironic. It's like he's like pushing different projects to migrate to Hive and leave Steem. It doesn't even seem like he wants them to stay on Steem. Like, it seems like he's trying to make it worse. And I don't know what the end game is here. So I'm very, very curious to see how this plays out. And maybe what ends up happening is he just sucks everyone out of Steem, gets them into Tron, and then hopes that they use DLive and other platforms that they create. But, you know, it's hard to rationalize this. So I've got all the information for people who want to like look through all this. You can see the open letter from the Steem Business Alliance, how they're trying to, like, here, these are a bunch of the platforms and projects a part of the Business Alliance that are calling out with an open letter to Justin to please like give them their delegations back, and that they fully support them and they don't support what the witnesses did. And you can see these are the people who actually supported it. And I think this is very grovelly, and I get why they're doing it, but they should have just gone with Hive, and they probably could have gotten the same delegations on Hive. And they, you know, I don't know, but we'll see how this plays out. I mean, clearly he doesn't care about them. None of them have gotten their delegations back. So, you know, yes, 200K is pretty good for DTube at the very least, but Justin doesn't care, you know, like he didn't respond to this, right? Like, he's not going to respond to it. Anyways, let's jump back here. So these are some other big things that happen. Steem Cleaners has now dedicated their activities to Hive, calling it Hive Watchers. Steem Feed.js, which is like software for witnesses to create their witness nodes, now has Hive support for people to go and set up Hive witnesses. Steem Auto has set up Hive Vote. Some notable Dapps that have migrated: Steemcraft, it's a Minecraft game sort of integration thing. Patrico is my go-to mobile app. It still hasn't fully migrated over, and they don't have an announcement yet. But if you go on the app, you can see that it's not on Steem anymore, and they're probably in the process of doing a bunch of stuff. Busy has migrated to Hive, so you can use Hive on there. You can use Peak D. I like to use this one for Hive. It's got a clean interface and has some useful features on there. Splinterlands and Steam Monsters have also voiced their support, and they're going to make sure that you can use Hive or Steem to play the game. Now, there's a bunch of other projects, and you know, I can't keep track of everything, so feel free to comment below some other projects that I might have missed that have also transitioned / migrated over to Hive or plan to, because again, I don't use half of these platforms, so I can't get everything. All of this took me about an hour and a half or something like that to collect. So, you know, I'm gonna call it there. There's only so much I can do in one day, and I might end up doing another update when I actually get my Hive power given back to me, and then maybe I'll do an update on the different people who got theirs back and how they're dealing with that process. But regardless, I still have full support for Hive. I'm fully confident that they're going to give me the Hive that I should have gotten in the airdrop, and I fully expect a lot more Dapps to be switching over. One thing that I did miss in this entire thing was the witnesses that switched over or not. So maybe I'll do that in the next one to give you guys that update. But for the most part, you're probably going to see that the majority of the original top 20 witnesses of 1 or 2 months ago, they've all pretty much gone to Hive. There's a few that have stayed, but for the most part, most of them are moving over to Hive. And you can see a lot of prominent figures supporting this, and there's a few that have stayed behind because, again, my thing is that they probably just want their delegations and they don't want change. There's no way that they believe that Justin didn't do anything wrong, and I think that pretending that that's the case is just very, very untrue, and it has to be for the crypto. It can't be that they actually believe that he's doing the correct thing here, because he didn't, and he's not, and it's just going to get more centralized, and it seems like it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and the value of Steem, not the actual price, but the value, the content, the development, all the projects, the community, they're all draining out and going to Hive. And ironically, half of it is because Justin's making them by taking away their delegations, and he's pushing this. So I don't know what his end goal is. And if you think you have some idea what's going on in his mind, I would love to know in the comments below. I fully expect this to be censored from Steemit. So that'll be interesting if that happens. I'll let you guys know with an update if that does happen. But regardless, I still like the original motivations and idea of Steem. I still will post here because I use DTube and I support DTube and I like DTube. But I really hope that they either just make their own chain and go all out with it. Well, they are making their chain. It's going into mainnet soon, and that they just really run with that. Or they have some integration with Hive. I don't want them to just be stuck on Steem for the delegations unless they have a better reason. But I'm really curious to hear from you guys. Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, we've all got bigger problems dealing with the virus, but still we want our decentralized platforms to stay decentralized, right? So let me know in the comments below. Are you using Hive? What platforms project do you want to see go to Hive? Have I missed something? Have I mistaked something? Let me know. What do you think about all this? What do you think about Justin's actions, the witnesses' actions, all these Dapps, what they're doing, the people who are pledging, the people who are leaving? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you did watch to the very end of this video, make sure to comment #1ham, and that way I know you watched to the very end. And I really appreciate you guys for watching. This was kind of a long one, but I had to get through a lot of different stuff. Anyways, you are amazing. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I'm signing off. Cheers.